Assassin's Creed is an experience that as a whole could probably do with being a little more immersive. It's not that the current experience is bad, but there are a lot of immersion breaking points in there, so I feel as if adding in a couple immersive features would make the game feel that much more alive that it needs to feel. So in this video we're going to be taking a look at 5 things that could make Assassin's Creed more immersive. Of course this will be sort of opinionated. If you disagree or have more to add, then the comments section is your friend, don't be afraid to use it. To start off with, a feature that could really help improve the immersion in Assassin's Creed would be dynamic crowd AI. Of course my computer fan's being loud as shit, hold on, let me just kick it. Alright, okay, that did nothing. Now, crowds in Assassin's Creed are a massive part of the social stealth element to the game. They're a massive part of the stealth in the game, and I feel as if they need to be more alive because they just feel as if they're another hiding spot in the majority of Assassin's Creed games. And although they are scripted to look alive and do things that are quite lively, in the majority of games and majority of instances in almost every game, it definitely feels as if they're scripted rather than doing things spontaneously. Had the AI been more dynamic and diverse, we might be able to see events such as people getting into fights in the streets. Maybe they respond to your notoriety differently and help you a little more if you're incognito. Or maybe you could interrupt them when they're doing something, and instead of just walking away afterwards like what the hell was that, when you stop interrupting but what they're doing, they go back to doing it. And say there's some district liberation based mechanic in the game, you could have them react to you differently as a whole and react to guards differently as a whole. Just minor touching up features really, but it would really improve the crowd's mechanics in Assassin's Creed and it will make the experience that little bit more immersive. Next up, we could have more realistic blending. Now in a demo for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, we see Edward tail somebody, which is a mission that you can play in the game, and at one point, to avoid detection, he sits on a bench, but instead of just sitting there, he interacts with the woman sat next to him and makes for an immersive sort of feel because he's interacting with a character in the world or just a random NPC and gives that NPC some life. I think what we need to see is more interaction while blending to make the blending more viable. So if someone were to turn around and look directly at the player while he was standing in a crowd, he's not just standing staring back with people around him, so it looks a bit weird. So if we do have to suffer tailing missions in the future, they'll be a little bit more bearable because every time the person you're tailing turns around to make sure they're not being followed, they don't look back at someone who looks like they're acting like a cat who follows you, but every time you turn around they just stand still and stare at you. So to have the assassin interact with the crowd, sort of throw an accent, maybe throw a voice and sort of just speak, and when the person turns around to take a look, the assassin is more incognito. In the side missions this could work. Dialogue options. Now I've been playing a lot of The Witcher 3 lately and the dialogue options are what make the open world missions feel that much more real. In Assassin's Creed there aren't really that many side missions that do cutscenes, but I'd imagine that having an interactive cutscene would be a good way to sort of make you feel immersed in the world. You can make your character, your assassin, sort of react to how people say things and say things accordingly and make it sort of unique. And this is a good way to make the player's experience in the world unique so that the character's story is a little bit different to the next player. Now of course, because the game's got a strict canon, I'd say, I wouldn't see this working in the main story, but in side quests it would be very fun, I guess. It would make the side quests more alive. The next thing that I'd like to see are actual shops. Now usually in Assassin's Creed you'll go up to a shopkeeper, you'll interact with them, and you'll be met with a menu after menu of just stuff you can buy. However, it would be cool if you just walked into the shop, had a browse around, saw things on shelves and bought it from there. Or maybe went to the shopkeeper and bought ammo refills there and stuff. That would be a really cool way to make the, well, just that little bit more immersive, because it's not really immersive to be in a menu all the time. Of course, this is fairly unavoidable to have menus in your shopping stuff. However, if they could limit that, that would add to the immersion. And I mean, having menus for shops is often the immersion breaker in games. So it would be really cool if Assassin's Creed were to go with a more select it off a rack sort of thing and buy it from there, or go to the shopkeeper and buy ammo refills and medicine. Keeping shopping and menus to a minimum would definitely add to the immersion of the game. This final point will help breathe the world to life a lot more than probably the other points will, which would be random encounters. Now with Assassin's Creed, almost everything is scripted, and what's not scripted is very limited. There's not much diversity in what goes on, because it's always just a random mugger or just some guy killing somebody in the street that you have to then chase down and kill. However, if the random encounters took a larger scale turn, so you could be attacked by bandits looking to claim a bounty on your head, or you could be just randomly attacked by a random thief on the road. You could end up being challenged to a horse race or a camel race if you're into that shit. The list goes on for random experiences you could experience in the open world of a game, and I feel as if this will be something that will be huge in making the open world of Assassin's Creed feel alive and less forced like it has done in some games. And I mean, in a live world would be the ideal thing for Ubisoft because they're so keen on their open world games, yet I always feel as if there's something missing, and that's something that's typically missing are random encounters and in-depth side quests. Sometimes these two can go hand in hand. You see, I'm not a big fan of open worlds full of pointless collectibles. However, if Ubisoft can somehow balance it out with a load of side quests with actual depth, then I'm not going to be too fussed with a couple of data fragments laying around. But there you have it everybody, 5 things that I think would add to the immersion of Assassin's Creed. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share, comment what you think would make Assassin's Creed's open world feel more alive, and I'll see you all soon. So yes, yeah.